My name's Zeo, and this is kind of a crazy one. If you've been with the channel for a while, you're probably aware of the fact that once upon a time I played on PSO2's Japanese servers. Well, 2 years ago today, that all changed. Yeah, the infamous security software promo short that supposedly sparked all this, but we'll wrap back around to that in a bit. So how did I wind up there initially? I don't think I ever told that story, and it's not quite what you might think. For that, we have to go all the way back to the early to mid-aughts. It's 2005, and I start playing Blue Burst with a few friends from my PSO Dreamcast friend group, the ones that jumped ship for Ragnarok Online around the time that PSO for the GameCube had dropped. That friend group expanded after a while thanks to PSO World and the official PSO Blue Burst forums. I remember a few of these folks, like one of them no-lifed the fuck out of the game, and it was a pretty hardcore FF11 player, and I think he made a bunch of money off of RMT and WoW back when that was popping off. There was one guy who got to level 200 mostly by spamming the shit out of this one boss that dropped a weapon that he wanted. I think he eventually got it. That was during the time when reaching max level in those games felt more like a journey than just checking a box. Fast forward to about the first half of 2006. We'd all gotten pretty much everything we wanted out of Blue Burst, and we still stayed in touch via Instant Messenger and IRC. A few of us were pretty miffed at how SEGA handled Blue Burst, and this was around the time that PSU talk started to ramp up. A few of us got into the closed beta at the time, and we enjoyed it thoroughly even though technically we weren't supposed to be there. So we met some English-speaking folks there who also played Japanese Blue Burst, and they became part of our group. The beta wraps up and a few of us are, brushing up on our Japanese and what have you in the time before launch. Then Japanese launch happens and those first 48 hours are a total clusterfuck. I think I only got maybe 5 or 6 hours of sleep that whole weekend. The game had 5 times more players than what the servers could handle at the time, and there were reports of item duplication, so they had to do a full character wipe. They came back up after a few days, but things were still touch and go for that whole first month, and they didn't charge us. PSU drops in North America the following month, and a bunch of that crew decides to dip potato chip, but there's still plenty of us who stayed put. We had us a nice little importer friend group, but a lot of them fell off over time, myself included. I started giving FF11 another chance, and I would reconnect with a friend of mine from PSO and the GameCube. Then I started meeting a few of his friends from FF11, and then we connected, and I started hitting that game pretty hard for like 4 years. These were some pretty high caliber players, and I learned a lot from them in that time. One of my favorite jobs in that game was Blue Mage, and at the time, Blue Mages weren't really seen as all that great for endgame. I worked my ass off proving that Blue Mage could do a lot of things, and it gained the respect of quite a few folks. I was in a few endgame link shells, which are the equivalent of guilds in that game, thanks to these friends. I didn't get to do shit like Camp Fafnir and Behemoth back in the day, but I did plenty of the other endgame events like Dynamis and Limbus and what have you. So where's this Phantasy Star friend group and all this? Well, I was still in touch with a couple of them throughout my time in FF11. 2012 rolls around and brings PSO2 with it, and a few of us reconnect over there. I'm doing shit in PSO2 with these guys between episode 1 and early episode 4, all the while bouncing between PSO2, FF11, and FF14. That group would mostly disperse, and a few of them would play some other free-to-play games together, and in some cases even Final Fantasy. I played a little bit of episode 5, and then I would take that 2-year hiatus. Then 2020 came around. This was around the time of the Xbox beta. I had already been streaming for about 3 or 4 months by then, and this was very much in the experimental phase where I was banging my head against the wall trying to find something that stuck. So I picked up JP again because I wasn't about to invest in another console, and started getting geared up there over the ensuing months. By this time, my friend group from back then was already long gone, apart from maybe 3 or 4 people. Once in a great blue moon, we'd do shit together, but we mostly did our own thing. I started Global when it came to PC, then played it on and off until about episode 6. There was still plenty of folks who dug in their heels and stayed put even in the wake of the official English release. Then NGS rolls around and there's a geo block, which meant folks who played on the Japanese servers from abroad had to jump through another hoop. Fast forward to right around this time 2 years ago. Chapter 5 of the story had come out, Slayer had dropped, so had Dual Quests. Remember what I said about security software? Well, this is where that comes in. I'm streaming and we're all cutting up, having a good time, and this was right around the time that whisperings of Welbia began to surface. This was a few months before it was officially announced. I made a couple videos on the subject discussing the company's history and some problems that other communities had with Welbia. I cut this tongue-in-cheek security software promo as a parody of other YouTube content creators who have their videos sponsored by the makers of said software. So one day I discovered I couldn't log into the game. I was like, okay, is something wrong with my internet? I couldn't read the message because it was in Japanese. Then I saw the error code. 816, what does that mean? So I look it up and find out 816 means account suspended. So I'm like the kid from A Christmas Story here. Oh, fudge. Then I go into YouTube Studio and I see a copyright strike on my channel, and it was the joke video. So I'm in full-blown wounded animal fight or flight panic mode at this point. I was like, what the fuck did I do? What do I do next? There's no way these two events are happenstance. Am I gonna get more strikes? Am I still gonna have a fucking channel in the next 24 hours? I posted on Twitter with a screenshot of the error message explaining what happened. I took down the Welbia videos, then I made another video explaining what had happened from what I knew at the time. The amount of support I received in the wake of that was astonishing. I did have to ban a few trolls though. I spent those next couple days figuring out what to do next. A number of options presented themselves. I could have pivoted to another game like Final Fantasy or some other free-to-play game, assuming I still had a channel by then, or make another Japanese account and just be a player. No streaming, no YouTube, no nothing, just be a player. There was one common thread with a lot of those comments on that video and that Twitter post. If you come to Global, I'm on Ship 1, our alliance would love to have you. Hey, I'm on Ship 2. Hey, Ship 3 here. I was like, you know what? It's time. What the hell do I have to lose? That move made a lot of people happy, but I've seen some of this shit written about me in the months that followed.
Based. Son got what he deserved. Oh, he fucked around and got bent over by SEGA.
Here's another fun one.
Now he's a global bootlicker. Just let the whole story is more towards than what he said.
Excuse me, baking powder? I'm sorry, were you there when the GM in Japan pulled the trigger on my account? Were you in the room when that decision was made? Not sure what people thought I was keeping back regarding this. Maybe it was a reply to a post about the whole D's Starless thing. I remember something about the Starless were gonna be called D's, but then English-speaking folks would hear this as something else altogether. We were joking about it on stream a couple nights before this whole thing happened. Yeah, I did the crime and I did the time, but it ended up working out in my favor. One of those cases of making chicken salad out of chicken shit. So that Sunday I got on Global, got hooked up with Night Arcs, and started getting caught up to where things were at the time. And then the streams steadily started getting more consistent viewership. They were all over the place before that. I was often lucky to get more than 5 or 6 viewers at a time. Occasionally I'd catch a raid from another streamer. I still had the occasional slow and low day. I probably could have kept skating by if not for that whole thing, but I don't think I'd still be doing this by now. I'll admit it was kinda lonely over there, and I guess over time I just grew numb to it. Yeah, this game has its issues, and we're having the whole where's the beef discourse again when it comes to this game's content in the wake of the recent headline. I've met some really cool people in these past 2 years, especially thanks to the whole party/DJ thing. I still say I made the right decision in the end. A big shout out to the folks who stuck with me after that whole mess, and to all the new friends I've met over these past couple years. Plus, I think everyone enjoys a good comeback story. Anyway, that's a wrap. I hope you have a blessed day. And remember, to thine own self be true. Until next time, farewell.